Nali was the kind of woman everyone in Ebonko village admired. She had a warm smile, soft voice, and a heart big enough to carry the whole world. She was known for her kindness, for helping neighbors even when she had little, and for always putting family first. When she married Dabo, she gave her whole heart. She believed in love, in loyalty, in forever. She cooked his favorite meals, stayed up late when he was sick, and stood by him through tough times. She was not just a wife, she was a friend, a cheerleader, a safe place. Their home wasn't rich or grand, but it was filled with laughter, prayer, and dreams. Nali thought they were building something beautiful, a future made of trust. She believed Dabo loved her the same way she loved him, but behind her back, a storm was slowly brewing. The man she gave her life to, the one she trusted with her soul, was hiding a betrayal that would shatter everything. Nali never imagined that the person Dabo was betraying her with was Sedi, her best friend, her sister in every way except blood. Sedi, who stood beside her on her wedding day. Sedi, who held her hand when she gave birth to their daughter. The same Sedi who smiled in her face and stabbed her in the back. Nali's heart broke, not just because of the affair, but because she had loved them both, and they had both chosen to betray her. Nali and Sedi had been friends since they were little girls, running barefoot through the dusty paths of Ebonko village. They shared everything, food, secrets, even dreams. When one cried, the other wiped the tears. When one laughed, the other laughed louder. People in the village used to say, "These two are more than friends. They are sisters." And that's exactly how Nali saw Sedi. Like family, like someone who would always be there, through every storm and every celebration. Sedi was there when Nali met Dabo. She teased Nali about how her cheeks turned red whenever he passed by. She helped Nali choose her wedding dress. She danced beside her at the wedding, smiling so wide, holding her bouquet, hugging Dabo like a brother. No one suspected anything, not even Nali. Why would she? Sedi had been in her life longer than any man. She trusted her like she trusted the rising sun. But sometimes, love makes us blind. Nali didn't notice the lingering touches. She didn't see the way Sedi looked at Dabo when she thought no one was watching. She missed the small signs, the secret glances, the too long hugs, the way Dabo's eyes sometimes followed Sedi when he thought Nali wasn't paying attention. Nali was too busy believing in the good, too busy loving them both. Looking back, she wondered how she didn't see it, how the very person she called her sister had been slowly stealing pieces of her life. One glance, one lie at a time. The betrayal didn't come out of nowhere. It had been there, quietly growing like a poison vine, and Nali had been watering it with trust. In her heart, the pain wasn't just from losing a husband. It was from losing a friend she thought would grow old with her, share stories with their daughters, and laugh about old times. Instead, Sedi had been writing a different story behind her back, and Nali never saw it coming. It started like any other day. Nali was cleaning the bedroom, humming a soft tune, folding the bedsheets with care. But then, something shiny caught her eye under the bed. A pair of earrings. Not just any earrings. These were Sedi's. Nali had seen her wear them 100 times. Her hands froze. Her heart skipped. What were Sedi's earrings doing under her bed? She tried to explain it away. Maybe Sedi dropped them when she came by to visit. Maybe, but deep inside, something cracked. Her chest felt tight, her breath short. Still, she wasn't ready to believe the worst. Not until she walked into the living room and saw them, Dabo and Sedi, sitting close, hand in hand, not even guilty, not even ashamed. Time stopped. Nali stood frozen at the doorway, her mouth dry, her heart pounding like a drum. Sedi looked up, but didn't let go of Dabo's hand. Dabo didn't flinch. He just looked at Nali like she was a stranger. No apology, no fear, just coldness. "I'm leaving," he said, like it was nothing. "Sedi understands me better." Those words hit Nali like a slap. She wanted to scream, to cry, to fall apart, but nothing came out. Her world, the one she built with love, with trust, with years of sacrifice, had just shattered into pieces right in front of her. And they sat there, like they weren't the ones who broke it. She thought of all the nights she waited for Dabo to come home. All the times she defended Sedi when people whispered behind her back. All the times she chose love, even when it hurt. And now, this was her reward? Nali turned away, holding back the tears burning in her eyes. Her whole life had changed in one moment. Everything she thought was real had crumbled. The two people she trusted most had ripped her heart apart, and they didn't even blink. It wasn't just betrayal, it was cruelty. And that day, Nali realized love doesn't always protect you. Sometimes, it's the very thing that breaks you. After Dabo left with Sedi, Nali felt like her world had been emptied. They took almost everything. The house she had made into a home, the car she once drove to the market, and even the friends who used to laugh with her. People she had cooked for, prayed with, cried with, now whispered behind her back or switched sides without a second thought. It was like her life had been wiped clean, and not in a good way. But in the middle of all that pain, there was one thing they couldn't steal, one thing Nali refused to let go of, her daughter, Fina. Fina was only 6, with her mother's gentle heart and her father's eyes. She didn't understand why Daddy didn't come home anymore, or why Auntie Sedi stopped visiting. Nali did her best to shield her from the storm, to keep her laughing, to hold her close even when her own heart was breaking, because Fina was her reason to keep going, the only piece of love she had left. When Nali told Dabo she was taking Fina with her, he didn't even argue. He just shrugged and said, "She'll come back when she grows up." That sentence cut deep. He didn't even try. No emotion, no fight. Like Fina was something he could replace later. Nali looked at him and realized he hadn't just walked away from her. He had walked away from his own child, but Nali knew something he didn't. Love wasn't just blood. Love was presence, care, sacrifice, and that's what she gave Fina every single day. Bedtime stories, scraped knee kisses, warm meals, school runs, all the little things that built a bond no betrayal could break. They could take the furniture, the car keys, the friends with fake smiles, but they couldn't take the bond between a mother and her child. That was hers. And in that love, Nali found her strength again, because Fina didn't just belong to her, she chose her. Every hug, every "I love you, Mama," reminded Nali that even in the middle of loss, she still had something no one could ever steal, her daughter's heart. Moving to Kumasi wasn't easy for Nali. She arrived with nothing but a suitcase, a broken heart, and her little girl by her side. The city was big and unfamiliar, and the days felt long and heavy. But Nali had something stronger than pain. She had purpose. She had Fina. And she was determined to build a new life, even if it meant starting from the very bottom. She met Madame Essie, a kind widow who ran a small bakery on a quiet corner street. Essie saw something in Nali. Maybe it was the tired eyes or the quiet strength behind her soft voice. She offered her a chance. "Come, help me bake," she said. "Let's feed the city together." Nali rolled up her sleeves and got to work, learning the recipe, the rhythm of kneading dough, and smiling through tiredness. Slowly, they became like family. Soon, the bakery grew. People came for the bread, but stayed for Nali's kindness. Her cakes carried warmth. Her pastries were filled with stories. Fina would come after school, helping fold paper bags and laughing with the customers. She was growing into a bright, confident girl with sharp eyes and a soft heart. She made her mother proud every single day. Meanwhile, far away, Dabo and Sedi's perfect world was falling apart. The laughter in their new home faded quickly. Month after month, Sedi cried in silence. There was no baby, no joy. The doctors said things they didn't want to hear. And the bills, they piled up like the lies they once told. Friends stopped visiting. The smiles faded. The love they had stolen didn't feel like love anymore. Dabo tried to keep it together, but nothing worked. The money ran out, and so did the peace. What they had built on betrayal was now crumbling before their eyes. And while they sat in silence, blaming each other, Nali and Fina were laughing over spilled flour and fresh bread in Kumasi. Nali had lost everything once, but now she had something real, a new life, an honest one. It wasn't perfect, but it was full of love, full of healing, and most of all, full of hope. And that was more than Dabo and Sedi could ever say. Years had passed since the day Dabo and Sedi left Nali and little Fina behind. Life had moved on, or so Nali thought. One quiet afternoon, her phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but something made her answer. On the other end was Sedi's shaky voice, filled with sobs and regret. "Nali, please," Sedi cried. "It's Dabo. He's very sick. His kidneys are failing. The doctors say the only match for a transplant is Fina." Nali's heart stopped. She sat down slowly, clutching the phone like it was a lifeline, or maybe a test. The daughter they had thrown away, the child Dabo never fought for, was now the only thing keeping him alive. The irony was cruel. Sedi begged for forgiveness, her voice breaking. She told Nali how Dabo's health had worsened, how they were drowning in debt and loneliness. "We never thought it would come to this," she whispered. "Please help him." But Nali felt a storm inside her. Anger, pain, confusion, and something harder to name. How could the same people who betrayed her now expect her to save them? How could they ask for the daughter they ignored, the love they refused to give? She looked at Fina, now a bright and strong teenager, sitting nearby, her eyes wide but calm. Fina didn't say a word, but Nali knew what she was thinking. This was more than a medical decision. It was about trust, about choosing who to love. For a moment, Nali's hands trembled. Could she save the man who broke her heart? Could she ask her daughter to give a part of herself to someone who had once turned away? The call changed everything. It forced Nali to face the past she had tried to forget, and the future she had to decide. Suddenly, the little girl they discarded was no longer just a child. She was a lifeline, the only thing standing between life and death for the man who had once left them behind. And in that moment, Nali realized some choices aren't just about love. They're about strength, the strength to forgive, or the strength to protect, the strength to heal, or the strength to say no. When Nali walked into the hospital room, her heart was heavy but steady. She wasn't the same woman who had cried over broken dreams years ago. This time, she carried a quiet strength, built from every hurt, every tear, and every fight to protect her daughter. Sedi was already there when Nali arrived. The moment she saw Nali, she fell to her knees, sobbing and begging for forgiveness. "Please, Nali, we were wrong. We're sorry. Help us," she pleaded, her voice trembling with regret. But the years of betrayal had carved a deep wound, one that couldn't be healed with tears alone. Dabo sat quietly, his eyes fixed on the floor. He couldn't look at Nali. His pride was gone, swallowed by guilt and fear. When he finally spoke, his voice was weak, almost a whisper. "We need Fina. She's the only chance I have left." Nali met his gaze, calm but unshaken. She felt the weight of those words, but also the years of pain behind them. "She's not yours to ask for," Nali said clearly, her voice steady. "You gave up on her the day you walked away. You lost the right to make decisions for her." The room felt still, as if time had paused. Fina sat beside her mother, watching quietly, her young face steady and strong. Nali knew this was more than a medical choice. It was about respect, trust, and what it meant to truly love someone. Sedi's hands trembled as she reached out, but Nali gently pulled back. "Fina is my daughter," she said softly but firmly. "She will decide if she wants to help, not you." Dabo swallowed hard, realizing the truth in her words. For all his mistakes, this moment showed him that love isn't just about blood or need. It's about trust and care, things he had forgotten. Nali stood tall, not as a broken wife or betrayed friend, but as a mother protecting her child. And in that hospital room, she made it clear. Fina's heart belonged to no one but herself, and no one could take that away. Fina had grown into a strong, smart teenager. She carried her mother's kindness, but also a fierce spirit that protected her heart. When the talk of donating her kidney came up, it wasn't an easy choice. She listened carefully to the doctors, to her mother, and even to the words from her father and Sedi. But deep inside, she knew what she wanted. One afternoon, sitting quietly with Nali, Fina looked up with clear eyes and said, "I don't want anything to do with him. He didn't choose me when it mattered. He left me behind. I won't save him now." Nali's heart ached hearing those words, but she also felt proud. Fina had found her voice. She understood that love isn't just about blood. It's about respect, care, and choosing to be there when it counts. And for Dabo, those choices had never been made. The doctor had been clear. Without the transplant, Dabo only had a few weeks to live. His body was failing, and time was running out. But no amount of fear or pressure could force Fina to give something so precious if she didn't want to. She wasn't just thinking about saving her father's life. She was thinking about her own, her future, her feelings, and the years of hurt left behind. She remembered the nights she waited for her father to call, the empty chair at school events, the stories she never got to hear from him. All those moments made her decision. "It's not hate," Fina explained. "It's about choosing who I want in my life. He didn't choose me then, so I won't save him now." Nali reached out and held her daughter's hand. tears in her eyes. It was painful, yes, but it was also honest and real. Love doesn't always mean forgiveness or sacrifice. Sometimes love means protecting yourself. In that quiet room, Fina's choice was clear, and though Dabo's time was short, the daughter he once abandoned was now standing strong, making the decision only she could make. After Fina's decision, everything began to fall apart for Dabo and Sedi. The life they had built on lies and betrayal started to crumble like a castle made of sand. Sedi sank deep into depression. The happy, confident woman everyone once knew disappeared behind closed doors. She stopped smiling, stopped answering calls, stopped leaving the house. The guilt and sadness swallowed her whole. Dabo's health grew worse by the day. His body grew weak and pale, and the doctors said there was little time left. The fear of losing everything finally caught up with him, but it was too late to fix what had been broken for years. He was left alone with regrets and fading strength. Even their friends turned cold. The people who once cheered them on now whispered behind their backs or avoided them altogether. The warmth and support they once had vanished, leaving them isolated in a quiet, empty house. The betrayal wasn't just between the three of them. It spread out, pushing everyone away. Meanwhile, far from all that pain, Nali's life was growing in a very different way. Her bakery, the little place she started with help from Madame Essie, became a favorite spot in the village. The smell of fresh bread and sweet cakes drew people from near and far. But it wasn't just the food. It was Nali's kindness, her smiles, and the way she made everyone feel at home. The bakery wasn't just a business. It was a symbol of hope and new beginnings. And Fina? She blossomed like a bright flower in spring. Her hard work and sharp mind earned her a scholarship to a good school. She was surrounded by friends who loved her, teachers who believed in her, and a mother who never stopped fighting for her. Fina's future was wide open, full of promise and dreams. While Dabo and Sedi's world fell apart, Nali and Fina built something strong, something real, a life born from pain but growing in love, a life that no betrayal could ever take away. In the quiet of his final days, Dabo wrote a letter to Nali. His hands trembled as he put down the words he wished he had said long ago. "I had everything and threw it away," he wrote. "You took the one thing I needed most, love." The letter came like a whisper from the past, a painful reminder of all he lost. Nali held it carefully, feeling the weight of his regret in every word. She remembered the years of heartbreak, the nights she cried alone, the way he walked away without a fight. For a moment, her heart softened, but then she saw clearly what the letter truly was, a lesson learned too late. She didn't reply. Instead, she took the letter outside, where the wind was cool and the sky wide. With a steady hand, Nali lit the paper on fire. The flames curled and danced, turning his regrets into ashes. She watched them disappear, feeling the weight lift from her shoulders. "Some lessons come too late," she whispered quietly, her voice steady but full of sorrow. She wasn't angry anymore. She was free, free from the past that tried to hold her down, free to live the life she had built with her daughter. Love, she knew now, wasn't about waiting for someone to change. It was about knowing when to let go. As the last of the letter turned to smoke, Nali felt the future open before her, bright, uncertain, but hers. And with that, she stepped forward, leaving the past behind, ready to embrace the life she deserved.